Judgments, their role in human life, their role in personal development and spirituality and the awakening process. Let's get gnarly with it and clear out some of the myths and help you to see where it fits, so you know you don't perpetuate the confusion that's out there that actually stops people making real progress in their lives. This stuff has quite concrete outcomes. I'm Jason at awakenedessence.com. So, judgment. It's quite a topic because you're welcome to judge this video. Let's get clear on that for starters, because you need to understand and get clear on what it actually is. So, if I push any buttons, and I'll be asking you to check in regarding this as we talk. So first things first, be aware of your hands and your backside. Pillar 1 of the 9-pillar framework, correct presence practice. Let's get you in your body, which is step 1. Hands, backside, feet. So what is a judgment? It can be quite a complex topic, so I'm going to break it down. Please judge freely. Judge my clothes. Judge the horrible view. It's good if you have a smile on your face while we discuss this rather difficult topic. So be aware of your hands. Please follow my prompts. Be aware of your hands and your backside, your legs and your feet. Step 1, be in your body of the 4 steps of correct presence practice. Those 3 words are always said for very specific reasons. Be in your body is step 1. That way you can start working out what a judgment is. So we no longer need to judge ourselves for judging and judging others for judging us, even though they're being judges because they're judging you. Sternum, heart center. The heart brain. We'll talk about the 3 brains in this video. Your unconditional love agape center. So I'm using the word agape because that's a lot more specific than the word love, which is quite polluted in amongst humanity in terms of what it means and all sorts of stuff. So we'll go with agape, unconditional, non-judgmental love. Be aware of your tummy, solar plexus, brain, all that solar plexus neural matter there and your mesentery around your small intestines, your gut center, and there's also esoteric landmarks in there called the core star, which is the core of you. Your identity center, your gut brain. Heart brain, 40,000 brain cells in there. So there's more about that on the website here. Your inner child brain, which is your gateway to the lower you, down into the planet. Be aware of your legs, your hands, pelvic floor. Notice your breathing. What is a judgment? And listen to your head brain, the chatter machine upstairs, where a lot of neural matter is up here, eh? So, in terms of discussing this judgment thing, and whether it's good or bad, we will use all 3 brains per the 3-brain video, the intuition video, and the inner child video. So when all 3 are in alignment, then you can make your own conclusions and hopefully henceforth be okay with them and work with the outcomes of judgments and why they are there. So what is a judgment? It's something the court decides whether you're guilty or not guilty, eh? That's the legal side of it. But a judgment in terms of this framework, and this may change, but test it out for yourself. A judgment is an evaluation of the facts, so you can decide what course of action you are going to take, if any. If you don't like the word judgment, you can use the word that some people like to use, so they avoid the word judgment because they're judging it. Discernment, assessment. To judge is a requirement of being a living entity. Whether you're a cockatoo or a human being, you need to judge to survive, to live, to make choices, to act, to realise what's required for something to be done properly. Now, where it all starts to get tricky, and you can test this and send some feedback, is a judgment may be seen as a bad thing when a person is in their own judgments, their own assessments, the outcomes are negative towards that person, thing, whatever. So a lot of religions and various other fields in terms of personal development may say that judgments are bad. My question would be is how do you function if you're not using the information or behaving or reacting or just running your habits, unconscious habits, to get something done, if at a deeper level or indeed a conscious level you are judging. This is the core of it, eh? So in terms of where a judgment may be bad or not, under the 9-pillar framework, here at this website, Student Success Tutor and LearnWhispering.com, we need to examine Pillar 4, Law 0, self-honesty and self-responsibility. So your own self-honesty in terms of how you're assessing something and judging it or not. There is the question of is there anything attached to that, i.e. solar plexus. So notice your tummy, your feeling centre, your gut, your emotion centre. Right, be aware of your tummy. It's good to be aware of your tummy during this video actually. So feeling your tummy. Is it rising or falling? So when you're being self-honest and you are being present, you are in your body, you're aware of your solar plexus, you're aware of your heart, and obviously you're aware of the chattering machine in your head, your mind. What do those three centres say in regards to something that's occurred or that you are doing with your processes as you either place a judgment or are in the receiving end of one? Self-honesty. Does this feel good? Does this feel bad? I mean, what's this? What's this out here? How would you describe that? Would you say it's nice, it's good, it's beautiful, or would you say it's horrible? You would say it's a misuse of there's a national park or state park just here. We're on the edge of it. So someone might say this is bad because this is farmland and it's growing cows and grey kangaroos. They're here every day. That could be judged as good or bad, eh? That's a judgment. What is it though? It's a farm. It's a farm. That would be a good description for it. Is that a judgment? So let's dig deeper. So the crux of what a judgment may be or may not be comes down to Pillar 4, Law 0. Self-honesty, self-responsibility. So if you're being self-responsible for yourself, your outcomes, those you care for, your society, your environment, and doing it in a way that's going to assure everybody's survival in 500 years' time, as I say in a lot of videos here and also at Student Success Tutor and especially LearnWhispering.com, where, you know, we will be determining if any other wildlife on this planet survives or not, eh? That's our responsibility. If it's a positive outcome, then we might not call it a judgment. If we're destroying it, then you might say that that person's a bit of a bleep, eh? We might say they're being selfish or being a short-term thinker rather than thinking, is this going to be good for everybody in 500 years' time? Long-termism, it's a good one. Humans are very short-termism, especially things like, the financial markets, eh? It's all about what's happening today and tomorrow. They don't care about 500 years' time. So be aware of your tummy, your breathing, your legs. Check if you're in peripheral vision. Feeling your heart, your sternum. And just notice what the chatter is saying in the head. Doesn't matter if it's talking or not. Be aware of your backside. Pillar 2 includes all of you, including your judgments. So where a judgment is seen as bad, or could be seen as bad, is where it gets into the deeper levels of Law Zero, self-honesty, self-responsibility, and that is imposition of will upon another. So the cult page and the non-duality page and the specifics versus vague stuff in terms of the awakening process pages, videos, all apply here, because it comes down to is this a boundary violation or not? And that can only be determined by the individual on the receiving end of that. So is the decision, the action, the attitude one of something that could be considered a boundary violation? Does that include respect for all beings involved or not? I.e., is it heart? Is it truly unconditional agape with no attachments? Unconditional. So if there's other stuff attached to it, then it could be considered to be a judgment. If it's acted out on, and therefore it becomes a boundary violation, well, possibly to yourself, if you're putting yourself down and making yourself feel bad and triggering emotions, shame, guilt, anger, worry, anxiety, then there's something there for you to look at, because that's an emotion. Go see the emotion page. All right. So an emotion is a messenger. What's the message? And the emotions will stay until you get the right message, and then you can do something to resolve it. However, if this decision process is put on to another, and it is a boundary violation, then that could be considered to be a judgment, eh? So we've got some global examples going on at this point in time, i.e. the war in Ukraine. That's a boundary violation. Plain and simple, eh? So that person has certain attitudes and beliefs, therefore is making judgments, and therefore destroying and creating the situation where people are losing their lives and property and all sorts of stuff is being violated. Very clear example of an outcome of a judgment, where that person has a very demented version of Law Zero. There is no Law Zero. So it always comes down to us in terms of your Law Zero, your self-honesty, your self-responsibility, and are you transgressing boundaries towards another by or saying it or acting on it. Be aware of your tummy. Hands, your legs. Notice what's going on inside your body. So if you're aware of what's going on inside your body, i.e. step 2, inner body, all the feelings and emotions and the head chatter and all the rest, and it's all peaceful and clear, then yeah, is that a judgment? No, it just means it's within law 0 and boundaries are not being violated. This is why moral compass and the cult page, I sort of get into various things that are tough topics, because people can judge certain actions as okay when they're actually clearly not. Hashtag Me Too stuff and all those other sorts of things. Control. Shoulding. Right? Check this for yourself. Please, you know, if you're serious and you want to get clear on what a judgment is, watch this video every day for a week and put the results and your thought processes into your journal and then send me your synopsis or some information about it. I'd love to know. But if we can clear this nonsense, this judgment about judgments, so people can get on with being present and coming home to a greater place of consciousness, then we can be self-honest, self-responsible and caring for all of our society, from the blades of grass to the cockatoos to the rhinos, the whales, and our society. That's what a good person would do, eh? Good person, heart brain, agape, unconditional love, pillar 9, common sense. And this is why the 9-pillar framework's pretty good, because it breaks everything down if you work your way through it. And for those in the Mastery Club and the Digging Deeper course, we will break down something at the end of this video. So as I talk to you, the wind is brewing, which when making a video is very annoying, so I could judge that as being a pain in the bleep. All right, is that a judgment? Hell yeah, because it has a practical outcome, eh? And this is what judgments are very useful for. My mind is saying, oh, okay, well, what I know about recording is I don't like wind because it's a distraction, as are the cockatoos. When I have them in the videos, right? They are a distraction, but they act out. They're perfect. They are law 0 machines. They are perfectly self-honest and perfectly self-responsible, because they don't have a conscious mind, a complex setup like we do to make a mess of everything. Check it out. Watch nature. It lives to survive. When was the last time you can recall where you felt judged? Just pick one. First question I'd ask you is that an actual boundary violation that has an impact on outcomes like income, friendship, trust, belongings being yours or not? Or law 0 self-honesty, is this something to do with you and your emotional state and centeredness within yourself, that you've taken something on that actually isn't yours, therefore it doesn't matter what other people think. Sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but names will never hurt me. And it may hurt, which means it's triggered something. Therefore, go and read the inquiry pages and figure out what's been stirred inside you that isn't part of your wholeness, part of your beingness. Sternum, heart brain, heart chakra, whatever word you want to use, all those layers. As you be aware of your tummy. Feel. Be grounded. Yeah, if your head's chattering, so what? Feel your backside and your tummy and your heart, your sternum. You be aware of all those areas. You can't be stuck in your head. So head chatter is not a problem. Never was, never will be. It's just a matter of, are you doing correct presence practice or not? Which is what the correct presence practice course is about and everything here on this website. So it becomes a habit. And we are but habit machines. So check out for you if a judgment is something that's placed on you by another, or indeed within yourself. So you are shouting on yourself, thou shalt not judge. Well, that's a judgment in itself, isn't it? If you're being shouted on, you're being shouted on. Shalt, S-H-A-L-T, the biblical word. What's the outcomes of that? So, for instance, you go to a job interview and you don't get the job interview, and you think it's something to do with your age, which is rife in Australia, ageism, your skin colour, your ethnicness, perhaps your clothes, perhaps an accidental comment you made, then you have been judged, eh? So that's an outcome, is you may not get that job, or you may feel judged and aggrieved. So if you're feeling aggrieved, that's law zero, something for you to look at, and then also decide if you're going to take some sort of action or not. I mean, for a job interview you wouldn't, but for other things you might, eh? So what are the outcomes of this process if it's been done to you? Or if you're doing it to yourself, because it's invoking emotions of shame, guilt, anger, depression, all that emotional stuff. Then that is a negative outcome of a judgment. Which means it's something for you to inquire into while you hold presence, so you can align it and move beyond it, so it doesn't become a problem. So in spiritual circles, especially in the social media realm, people will use the word judgment left, right and centre, saying you're being judgmental. Yeah, I'm making an assessment and putting it out there. Is there negative emotions attached to it from that person that's making the judgment or not? Can you tell? If you're hearing their voice, you probably can, eh? The emotional intonations. This is why videos are good. Written word is very hard to tell, because that means as we read it, we're interpreting it within our own self, our own psychology, and our body, where the emotions are generated. Note the nuances with this. And does it have an outcome? So, judgment is a two-way sword. It can be a way to provide an assessment, provide some facts, or it may be that there is a person who's dumping their stuff on you, i.e. they're not being law zero, they're not being behaviourally specific. In a way that's measurable. Rules of evidence, pillar 3. Because if it's not true, and you've assessed it, and you know it's not true, then yeah, perhaps that is a judgment. And that's them dumping their stuff on you. Come back to your body, backside, chest. Enact the steps of correct presence practice and validate them, so you know you are genuinely present, and therefore it'll, when there's no more emotions there, or even if the emotions are there, just be present with it. It is, man. Pillar number 2 includes all of you. So judgments are not a problem. If you're feeling judged, can you assess if it is actually a real judgment that is an imposition upon you that's breaking your boundaries or not? Or has that person said something, done something, enacted something that means you need to act And there's a scale, isn't there? You know, I don't really need to do anything. Maybe it's stirred an emotional, pricked a button because I've got some garbage I need to look at, versus, yeah, a certain genocidal president of a certain country is going to send a cruise missile across and blow up my hospital, and I've got to get out of it. You know, that's fight flight. You've got to act right now because you are being judged as, well, whatever by that person. So the cruise missile's coming towards you. There's a range of things there. And in terms of this one, this person who you're feeling judged by, perhaps their delivery, action, or whatever it is you feel judged by, perhaps that is some actual feedback for you to be self-honest and self-responsible about, to examine if there is something about you that, yeah, perhaps I could work on that. If you wanted to, law zero, self-honesty, self-responsibility. I'm responsible for me and those in my care as well as the environment, blah, blah, blah. All right? In which case a judgment is good. All judgments aren't bad. Thou shalt judge so thou can get things done. Keep this planet alive. Agape, unconditional love, caring. What would a good person do? It's pretty simple stuff. Heart brain, unconscious mind, 5-year-old. The 5-year-old, the unconscious mind, prime directives is your unconscious mind takes everything personally. Even as an adult, you might think, no, I don't. But that's just your conscious adult psychology overriding your major operating system. That's actually just how we tick. So you can deny it or say, yeah, I'm a good adult and I don't take things personally. At another level you do, and that's your unconscious mind. That's our psychological system, and that's how we work. Go see the unconscious mind page and read all the dry bits about down the bottom there about prime directives. So judgments, how you feel about them, how you do them, how you receive them. You know, step 1, pillar 1, correct presence practice, get in your body, inner body, presence is the divine here. If you're a student, learning state. If you're out in nature and you're approaching a kangaroo or an echidna or something, or a cow or horse, learning state. It's the same process, it's the same structure. And that's what this video has been about. What's the structure of a judgment? It's for you, with your law zero, self-honesty, self-responsibility, to discern, for you to judge, for you to assess if that has an impact on you and your boundaries, or the boundaries of everything around you. Where's your fence? This is private property. That's state property. And therefore they're governed by different rules. So judgments. Someone says you're being judgmental, or you're feeling judgmental, or you're feeling being judged. Step 1, get in your body, feel, notice your solar plexus, your feeling center, your gut brain. Be aware of your heart, your sternum. And yes, listen to the chatter upstairs. The chatter will indicate what it is that needs to be looked at. This is why you do all 3 brains. Go watch those videos. Does that help? It's worth contemplating, eh? Like I said, do this video every day for a week. Put entries in your success journal, your pillar 3 evidence gathering device, and sort out what's being triggered. Are you being violated? What are the outcomes of that violation? Get specific. What's the evidence of that? What's the outcomes? If it's being used as a defense, oh, you're judging me. Law zero, self-honesty, okay, I feel like I'm being made less than or something. I might not get that job because I'm judged as being too old. To go back to the job interview thing and watch it. Gather the evidence, pillar 3. Because if you're getting stewed up about judgments, is that something to do with your own self-worth? Or the fact that you're just following something that's not really good for you? It's worth inquiring into. So judgment and being a judger is another one of these sort of spiritual myths that are used most of the time in the wrong context. But you will have to assess that in each given situation. And in written media, social media, it can be difficult to discern if that's happening or not. And sometimes it's just pretty blatant, especially when vague language is being used. Ask for specifics. Ask them for evidence, pillar 3. Because the judges and the claimers will never give you any. That's a good sign that they are judging, which is a reflection of them. Or you can take a look at what they're saying and check the evidence for yourself. Hey, how's your backside? How's your tummy? So I'm going to say a name. I'm going to say 2 names just to give a bit of variety. Notice what you think or feel about them. So, President Putin. How would you describe that individual? You can use facts. Well, the fact is he's violating international laws. He's destroying a country. He's effectively acting out genocide. He believes he's doing the right thing, which might be a reflection of his state of mind, his lack of law zero and appropriate boundaries. There's some of my judgments, but you know, you might like the guy. I know people that like him. That's something to do with their blind spots, eh? Pillar number 8. And another character that's always in the news that makes things pretty blatant for everybody to decide if they like him or not is the former 45th President of the United States, Mr. Trump. Is he a good person? Is he okay, man? Is he a good guy? Or do you think he's... How would you evaluate, discern? Would you trust that person? It's your choice. Law zero, self-honesty, self-responsibility. We're all allowed to have our own viewpoints, eh? But being a good person, i.e. boundary violation, is that going to be good for everybody in 500 years' time? What would a good person do? What would your unconditional agape centre, your heart brain, your heart centre, and all those words, what would that do? Assuming you're not in a life-threatening situation, in which case fight-flight will take over and you will do whatever you can to stay alive. So when you watch the videos with all the birds and the animals, they are law zero machines. They live unconsciously and they act out under the rules of fight-flight, which is prime directive number 1 of the unconscious mind, heart brain, inner child, heart centre, is preserve the body, be safe. Feel your tummy, Be safe. Feel your tummy. Do you feel safe? If you don't feel safe, then you might want to assess, i.e. Law Zero, self-honesty, self-responsibility. Do I stay in this environment, or what do I do to change it so I am safe? Feel. So what are your views on this? Are judgments okay or not now? Is it okay for you to function as a human being and decide that you think that person is a bleep, bleep, bleep? It is, because that means that you can do whatever you need to do to keep yourself safe, keep yourself protected, and help you to behave like a good person and take whatever action is appropriate for you and your wider society, so everybody is here in 500 years' time, including the panda bears and the whales and the cockatoos. That's what a good person would do, eh? Good person, prime directive of the unconscious mind, is to be a moral being. We don't need religions to tell us. It's actually inherent. It's just trauma and selfishness, basically, which puts things out of balance, eh? Am I being a good person? It's not just about me. It's about the we. The me flipped upside down. We, not me. It's another way you could think about it, actually. Is this a we statement? So to use the job interview metaphor, would I be a useful contribution to the we team rather than being about me and what I want so I can pay rent? That's what your boss needs to think about, your potential boss, to make it a little bit more practical. Think about it. Judge it. Judge this video. Write down your judgments in your success journal, gather the evidence, and let it brew, because this is a huge concept. Concept, structure, process. Pillar number 7, it is the structure of how we work. You need to work within the alignments of what we are. So in terms of the 4-ingredient overview, what do you want? What you're going to do about it. In terms of judgments, yeah, what do you want? What are the outcomes you're after? And what are you prepared to do about it? Then follow the structures of what you are as a human being. Unconscious mind, heart center, unconditional love, the inner child. How is that affecting your solar plexus brain, your gut, your emotions? Do you feel angry, sad, guilty? I mean, if you've broken someone else's boundaries, yeah, it's good to feel guilty. Perhaps I won't do that again. Perhaps I should do some remediation or apologising. And the chatter machine, the mind, the fact thing, that'll help you, give you the actual details and the facts and the figures and all the rest in terms of how to bring yourself into alignment, eh? So all of you is aligned. So you can hold it in presence, which is the alignment process, body, inner body, presence, and is the divine here. There's nothing wrong with judging. But you'll feel it through there, and you'll feel it down there, and this here will go, and it'll give its version until all three are in alignment, and then it will resolve. And then it's up to you to monitor it for the outcomes, pillar 3 evidence, until it becomes the habit. Unconscious mind, pillar 5. Unless you're blind spotting it, pillar 8, in which case you're probably in denial about it. And if you're in denial about judgments and don't like what I've said, you won't be watching the video, will you? You would have gone by now. That's why this is pillar 9, common sense. And that's why this teaching and these websites are structurally sound, because you can disassemble everything very precisely so you can move forward to the happy place. A 5-year-old language, the happy place. Connection with everything. with those you care about, connection with those you don't care about because you've judged them, but that's fine. It's good to be safe. It's good to feel good. So be aware of that. In social media and your own spiritual, religious, personal development, or even just general human life path, be aware of that. So, what do you want? What you're doing about it? Right? Follow the structures. Okay. What's the evidence? Evidence it by doing this over the next 7 days. Using your volitional attention, your conscious mind, your attention. Will place it and be aware, assess, pass the judgments. Any questions, make contact. I'm Jason for awakenedessence.com.